I'm really glad I made a double batch of this.
Today we are making the easiest fried rice with a delicious flank steak and a soy marinade.
Our first step is going to be marinating a flank steak. I use a soy marinade with soy sauce and mirin and rice vinegar. It's going to be so delicious, and we're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes before we cook the rest of our meal. If you don't have time to let your steak cook, don't worry about it. Just put the marinade on top, and if you need to cook it right away, it'll still taste great. It'll caramelize in the pan and give your rice a delicious flavor. Our dry ingredients here are some garlic powder, ginger powder, and brown sugar or coconut sugar. So I just go ahead and sprinkle that on top. We're going to be using some soy sauce, traditionally brewed. You can just use 2 to 3 tablespoons. If you have a really big steak, maybe consider doing a little bit extra. Next, we have some rice vinegar. This is where our acid comes from. If you want to use lime juice, that would also taste really great here too. Do about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. Oh, it already smells so good. And then some mirin. Mirin is a Japanese rice wine for cooking. It's sweet and adds a little bit of sugar. If you don't have mirin, don't worry about it, but if you do, add about a tablespoon. I also like to add a little bit of sesame oil, and this adds just like a little bit of nuttiness. It's so good. And our last ingredient is going to be some oyster sauce. Again, it's just a tablespoon of that. If you don't have oyster sauce, you can skip this. You can add a teaspoon of fish sauce. And that is our marinade. So we're gonna rub this around, give it a good chance to really infiltrate the meat, and then we're gonna put it in the fridge 30 minutes, and then we're going to cook the rest of our fried rice. Okay, while our steak is marinating, we have some edamame here, and just microwaved it. You can buy it in a package that's already pre-shelled. That's a great way to do it. I didn't, so I'm going to de-shell all of these while we wait for our steak.
Okay, the final steps of prep are to fry up some bacon. Fry up about 4 to 5 pieces, and then I always take kitchen scissors and chop them into bite-sized pieces so they easily mix in with the rice. After that, chop up a carrot or 2 and then a red or green onion depending on what you have on hand.
The key to some really good fried rice is some really cold rice. I made this yesterday and I stuck it in the fridge in a container. What's important about cold rice is that if you use hot rice or warm rice, it's going to be a really starchy, mushy mess when you stick it into your skillet and you start adding all of your seasonings and your oil. So definitely make your rice the day before. Leftover rice or takeout rice is a really good option. Otherwise, you might not like your fried rice as much as you would if you were using cold rice.
Okay, to cook the flank steak, I just add the flank steak to the cold bacon grease in the skillet that I use to cook the bacon. Then I flip it every 2 minutes for about 10 to 12 minutes till a nice brown crust and caramelization is occurring on my steak. After 10 to 12 minutes, I remove it from the skillet to rest. Okay, for our fried rice, in a wok, add a generous portion of butter and your aromatics of ginger and garlic. Next, add the carrots, then add your red onion, and then 4 to 5 cups of rice, depending on how many people you're trying to feed. After that, get in there with your spatula and break up all the cold rice, adding more butter if you need. I add about a tablespoon of both soy sauce and sesame oil for flavor. Continue to mix it up and then add in your bacon and your edamame. Continuously stir your rice, adding in a little bit more butter if it looks dry, and then I always add a pinch of white or black sesame seeds. Make sure it's well stirred and very hot. Then we're going to whisk up a single egg and we're going to pour it over our rice, stirring continuously. Make sure that you remove the wok from the heat as you stir in the egg. Now it'll be time to serve it. I always top mine with a little bit of extra black sesame seeds for flavor. Now that the flank steak has been resting for about 10 minutes, I always start by cutting it against the grain into strips, and then I cube it into bite-sized pieces for easy serving.
Okay, so we have our fried rice, and I'm gonna plate it up with some steak. I'm so excited for this. Oh, wow. So I just plated that up with some delicious steak. I'm gonna put some soy sauce and sesame seeds on top, and then it's gonna be so good. It's so good. The steak marinated is so delicious. It's kind of tangy with that vinegar and the soy sauce. Give this one a try. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.